Hi there, I'm Debbie. I'm a consulting Western astrologer using the whole sign house system and the tropical zodiac. So welcome to my channel if you're new here, and welcome back to any friends that have already listened to my previous recordings on astrology. And just to say I welcome your presence, and if you're able to subscribe to my channel if you're new here, that's great because it helps my channel grow. Press like and also comment below with any astrological chat if it resonates with you, anything that I'm sharing, and this helps me promote myself to the wider world. I'm relatively new at this. I've only been doing it about a year, so my last couple of videos have been pretty well received, so I really appreciate that, but it also does set the bar to make me want to continue offering the best that I can. So thanks again. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and I don't even ask for buy me a coffee yet, because that's something I need to work out to put onto the comments section below. So welcome. Today I'm going to talk about the full moon in Virgo on Saturday, the 24th of February. Universal time is 12:28, so you can adapt that to your time zone wherever you are in the world. But that's basically the Greenwich Meridian line here in the UK. I'm based in Scotland, and today what I'm planning to do, I'm going to show some images of Virgo because this is where the full moon is, and also a little bit of the Pisces because it's an opposition at the time of full moon. We usually only get one full moon in each sign of the zodiac each year. And that's when the sun and the moon are in complete opposition. And I'll show the chart of the full moon, and then I'll give some brief interpretations for each sign of the zodiac, starting with Aries and ending with Pisces, patient Pisces. And I will put timestamps in. So if you don't like listening to long videos, then I understand, and just listen to the interpretation and then check along into the timestamps where you can listen in for your rising sign if you know your time of birth. And if you don't know your time of birth, then you can listen in for your sun sign or your moon sign. So the sun is more about your sense of self, your dynamism, your ambition, your purpose in life. The moon is more about your emotional reactions, your body, your mind. It can be related to your mother and the environment. And the ascendant, which is rising on the eastern horizon at the time that you're born, that's supposed to be most powerful because it's the first influence that as you take a breath when you're born into this world, it really influences you because it's the rising constellation on the eastern horizon. So it's really about you, your health, your vitality, your psychology, your outlook in life. And often some people in modern astrology say it's the mask that we wear. So if you know your time of birth, you can cast your chart. Look below in the comments. There's a free tutorial on how to cast your chart using the whole sign house system and the astro.com, which is a free website where you can create an account and cast up to 100 charts for you and your friends and family. So yeah, thanks again. Press the subscribe button. And now I'm going to share some beautiful images of Virgo and what Virgo represents for us all in the zodiac. So bear with me. So here we have a beautiful image of Virgo, the maiden, and the symbol of Virgo, which is shown inside this full moon here. It looks a bit like an M with a swirly twist on the end. So Virgo, when we think about Virgo, she is the symbol of the maiden who brings in the harvest. And certainly the Virgo time of year is harvest time here in the Northern Hemisphere, using the tropical zodiac, and here in Scotland and the UK. Virgo is a yin sign, as in a receptive feminine sign. If energy goes outward, it's yang, it's more masculine, but yin is more receptive and inward. So all earth signs and water signs are both yin signs, and all air and fire signs are all yang or masculine signs. So she's a yin mutable, that's a modality of Virgo, mutable as in adaptable, changeable, flexible, moving sign of the zodiac. And so we've got feminine, yin, mutable, and earth. So that's the qualities of Virgo, the virgin who brings in the harvest. So Virgo, she knows what's good. She knows what high standards are. She knows what perfection is. She knows what, when she's going through the wheat and the chaff, she knows what's good and what to discard. So Virgo and traits tend to be quite meticulous, quite perfectionist, sometimes a little bit fussy, but very discerning. And there's an awareness with all Virgo and energy to have a sense of purpose, that earthy, purposeful, and often being of service to others. And often, because it's an earth sign of the zodiac, there's an interest in nature, all things that are natural, maybe related to the seasonal changes of the earth, maybe related to the physical health of the body. So what we take into the body, as in dietary things, cleansing, purging, and also maybe exercise and things like that. So that's some of the Virgoan traits. And here is a symbol of Virgo on the full moon here. As I was saying, it's an M with a sort of loop on the end, not to be confused with the glyph of Scorpio, which is like an M with a Scorpio sting arrow on the end. And here's a lovely image as well, just absorbing those full moon rays that we can tune into at this time of the full moon on the 24th of February. And also, I'd like to show Pisces here, because Pisces is a water mutable feminine sign. So very similar in all the makeup, as in the modality of mutability, again, changeable, adaptable, flexible, in opposition to Virgo. So the sun is in the Pisces season now. The sun's just gone into Pisces, and the moon is in opposition. So Pisces is also a feminine sign, yin sign. Pisces is also a mutable sign, as in the flexibility, changeability, moving, flexible energies that all mutable signs have. But Pisces is a water sign, which is based and related to more emotional parts of the self, whereas Virgo is very earthy and grounded. Pisces is the opposite. There's a real sort of abstract fluidity, flexibility, changeability, fluidity, as in the fish swimming in the opposite directions. And you can see the glyph here, which shows symbolism of the fish swimming in opposite directions. And Pisces is very intuitive. If you think about the oceans and how fish swim in shoals and get drawn in, that's very Piscean, getting pulled with a shoal of fish, connecting to the collective. So that's the sort of dynamic energies that we've got at this time of the full moon. And the sun will be at 5 degrees Pisces opposite the moon at 5 degrees Virgo. So full moons bring in a fruition to something that you may have began at either the new moon in Virgo, that would be the new moon in Aquarius, which was on the Friday, the 9th of February. You can look back at my video for that one. So the new moon was the Friday, the 9th of February. And because the sun and the moon are the same sign, it's obviously going to be in the sign of Aquarius. So just ignore what I said there about Virgo. The new moon was in Aquarius. And there was, going back further, there was a new moon in Virgo last September, on the 15th of September 2023. So things that, if you had intentionally planned things for new beginnings to bring to a completion, or aiming for something in your life, now these 6 months later may be showing you what you've reaped the results of if you work intentionally with planning with the moon. So back then, on the 15th of September, that's when there was a new moon in Virgo, and now there's a fruition point of the full moon in Virgo, coming to completion, ending, and being fully illuminated. So let me just share the chart here of the actual new moon in Virgo. Sorry, full moon in Virgo. I'm getting mixed up. So let me just get me my annotate tool. So when we look at the heavens, it's always important to see what's happening at the time of the full moon, or any time of new moons, or whatever we're looking at with astrology. So let me just get the arrow. So the arrow here would show that the sun and the moon are in opposition. So sun is at 5 degrees, 23 minutes Pisces. This is shown for Cancerian ascendant. So you can ignore this unless you're a Cancerian ascendant, and you can see that the sun and the stellium of planets are in the 9th house, and the full moon in Virgo is in your 3rd house. I will be going through interpretations at the end of this introduction here. So we can see that the sun and moon are in opposition, And then we can also see that there's quite a large stellium of planets going on here in the Piscean house. So we have the Mercury at 2 degrees, 10 minutes Pisces. We have the Sun at 5 degrees, 23 minutes Pisces. We can ignore the midheaven because that changes every couple of hours, like the ascendant roughly. We have Saturn at 9 degrees Pisces. This is a new territory because Saturn went retrograde and only reached 7 degrees Pisces previously. So this is new territory for Saturn. And we also have Neptune at 26 degrees Pisces. So all of these planets are in a whole sign opposition to the moon. So Virgo is ruled by Pisces, and Pisces is, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Pisces. Excuse all my faffing around. I've been up for ages and I had intended to do this video earlier, so this is a bit later in the day for me. So let's just remind us, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Pisces in opposition. And also Mercury being so far from the home or the sign that Mercury rules is known to be in exile here in Pisces. So what does this mean? So Mercury in Pisces is known to be in exile, using ancient astrological terms, far away from home, away from the comforts of how Mercury likes to use Mercury's energy, which is in a very productive, practical, planning, meticulous way in Virgo. So now Mercury is in the opposite sign of Pisces. So it's really very different in the way that we can communicate or travel or interact, sharing our ideas and thoughts, and things like mercurial traits. So that can be mercantile, selling, traveling, communicating. All of those things are very mercurial. But what Pisces can bring is more abstract and flowing and creative and maybe even ethereal, intuitive aspects to this Pisces Mercury opposite the moon in Virgo. So there's a whole mix of energies going on here, and it's all to be taken into consideration when interpreting the full moon here on the 24th of February. So what else can we see that's just happened in the heavens? I'll leave that arrow up to show the opposition. We can see that recently Venus has just passed the conjunction with Mars. So this is a stellium of planets here in Aquarius. We know that Pluto has just moved into Aquarius, and Pluto will be spending about 20 years in Aquarius, because Pluto moves very, very slowly, taking about 248 years to travel around the whole zodiac. But Pluto will be dipping back into Capricorn around September the 2nd and going back into Aquarius on the 11th of November, 2024, and then stays in this house of Aquarius. So you can look at my last video about how that might affect different signs of the zodiac. But more recently, faster moving Venus has gone into Aquarius and was conjoined with Mars in Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius is to do with the collective, as in communities, and also about shared ideas, grassroots art, things that we can support ourselves with others, rather than it being a power down structure of authority, like when Pluto was in Capricorn, which is more about old-fashioned traditional structures here. So, you know, there's a sense with Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and union, the arts and sensuality, having been in a conjunction with Mars, the god of war, passion, drive, and assertion, in community-minded Aquarius, lending a sense of something coming together with potential blessings and cooperation, maybe some sort of smoothing out of discord, anger, conflict, war, with some sort of mutual understanding here. So this conjunction or conjoining of Venus and Mars, because now Venus is at 9 degrees and Mars is at 8 degrees, This happened for exact on the 22nd of February, just a couple of days earlier, but you may be feeling it now building because there would be an applying conjunction at this time. I'm recording on the 20th of February. So that's something that's going on in the heavens at the moment, and also maybe looking at Venus, Jupiter. So Jupiter has just been, well, Jupiter's in a whole sign sextile, which is of the nature of Venus to the sun here. So there's because the sun is so bright and the moon is so bright, sometimes you can give bigger orbs of adjustment. So there's a 5-degree orb to a trine from Jupiter to the moon, 30, 60, 90, 120 degrees, a wide trine with a 5-degree orb. And there's also a sextile with a 5-degree orb to the sun at 5 degrees there, to Jupiter at 10 degrees in Taurus. So there's some flowing energies going on, as well as this opposition energy. And during any oppositions, there's a necessity to balance and weigh things up. Otherwise, because oppositions are of the nature of Saturn, there can be a sort of pulling, a toing and froing until there's a fulcrum point of balance that's met and made. And it's not always easy, but there are similarities with oppositions. So blending that sort of sense of trying to come together, and wherever the sun is in this Pisces area of your chart, your personal birth chart, and wherever the moon is in your Virgo area of your personal birth chart, this will be that what I'm focusing on today for your short interpretations. And also, obviously, if you have any planets that are around 5 degrees of the mutable signs, so the mutable signs also include Gemini and Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is fire mutable, Gemini is air mutable, and we've also talked about the Virgo mutable and Pisces. So if you have any planets within maybe 3 degrees applying, so that would be 2 degrees of any of the mutable signs up to about 8 degrees. So 2 to 8 degrees of the mutable signs, this full moon may be more powerful and significant for you, because you will either have the moon or the sun conjunct these planets in your natal chart, or you may have them in square to planet placings in the other signs there. So without seeing people's personal natal chart, you can't be too specific. That's why we astrologers give a general feeling of what's going on. And, you can't be too specific, because any astrological interpretation given broadly like this doesn't take into account the personal chart. And that's why I'm really passionate about giving people personal astrology readings, because it really can go so in depth and then allow you to understand the currents that are at work in the heavens, as above, so below. So contact me below if you're interested in a reading. I'm very reasonable compared to most astrologers who've been working for many years. So give me a chance if you like, or look at my client testimonials on my website. So let's begin now then with Aries ascendant, sun or moon, if you don't know your time of birth. So hi there, Aries ascendant. As you can see from the diagram here, with Aries on the ascendant at the 9 o'clock position, the sun is in your 12th house with the stellium of planets here, and the moon is in your 6th house. So in ancient astrology, these houses were known as the malefic houses, because the 6th house is the house of Mars's joy, and the 12th house is the house of Saturn's joy. So they're both the malefic planets that cause challenge. So the 6th house is related to your everyday life, your duties, your work, your routines, and it can be affecting your health as well. And it's related to small pets, smaller than a goat, as I was taught with Adam at Ellen Bass and Nightlight Astrology. So it always makes me laugh. And the 12th house is about animals like larger than a goat, like a horse. So basically the house of pets, really domestic pets, I think, that you would have in your home, the 6th house there. So topics that may be coming to the surface, because remembering that the full moon is about things coming to a sense of completion that may have begun around the 15th of September at the time of the new moon last year. These topics might be coming to a head. So maybe it's to do with things around your work life, your routines, your sense of service and self-sacrifice to others, what you do. Is this too much for you? Because sometimes Virgo can be very giving and very practical and productive and busy. And the 6th house is a busy house because it is about your day-to-day routines. It's the house of Mars's joy. Sometimes it can be related to some sort of conflict or disagreement here, but certainly things around your own personal health might be highlighted. Virgo, because Virgo energies tend to be very analytical and look at the minutiae of a situation. Sometimes there can be worrying tendencies that come up to the fore, sometimes anxieties and things like that, with the moon in Virgo there in that 6th house at the time of this full moon, and in opposition to the stellium of planets, which are in the 12th house of Saturn's joy here. So again, the 12th house is a very hidden area of life, not like the 6th house. Saturn's joy is a place of isolation, privacy, seclusion. It's related to your subconscious, to your inner self, your hidden self, and mysterious, mystical pursuits that you maybe become involved with behind the scenes in places of retreat. So you've got all this energy, this dynamic energy of Mercury lending some sort of potentially ethereal or abstract ideas. Your sun in Pisces here. The sun is in Pisces always at this time of year for you. Saturn in Pisces encouraging to create some boundaries and structure in this area of life where he will be for the next couple of years, as Saturn takes about 29 years to go around the whole zodiac. So that can be good to become more practical and set things in a sort of routine that is healthy for you, so that you don't lose your sense of self and sense of control, because the 12th house is the furthest house from the 1st house, and it can be known as the house of self-undoing. So like habits that aren't so good for us, Aries, this could be indicating, cutting back, structuring something to help you, because you've got Neptune here, and Neptune, the modern day ruler of Pisces, tends to like to go and lose oneself in a way, because Neptune is to do with the ethereal realms, which aren't at all grounded. So modern astrologers would see that Neptune rules Pisces, but actually for many thousands of years, using ancient astrology, Jupiter is known to be the ruler of Pisces, as well as Sagittarius. So Jupiter is here in your 2nd house, co-present with Uranus, or Uranus. We can have many jokes about full moon and Uranus, but we won't. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, there is a sextile, a wide whole sign sextile from Jupiter in your house of your skills, your resources, how you can make money, your sense of security. There's a nice sextile aspect going to the sun in this hidden house here, so you can reflect upon things here. And there's also a sense of opportunities as well, because Jupiter is in a wide trine to your moon in Virgo in your everyday life. So there are some opportunities here to go with. And also just acknowledge your boundaries, acknowledge what's healthy for you, because there's a sense of being able to use your own skills and resources, especially with Jupiter in your 2nd house up until the 25th of May this year, because Jupiter spends about 1 year in each sign of the zodiac. So I hope that's helpful for you, Aries ascendants, and I will move on now to the next sign of the zodiac, which is Taurus. Hi there, Taurus ascendants, sun or moon if you don't know your time of birth. This full moon is happening in your 5th house of Virgo down here, where the arrowhead is, in opposition to the sun and the stellium of planets up here in your 11th house. So in ancient times, The fifth house was known to be the house of Venus's joy. So that's one of the benefic planets, the lesser benefic planet. And the 11th house was known to be the house of Jupiter's joy, which is the greater benefic planet. So as I was talking about previously with Aries, Mars, and Saturn were known as the malefic planets. In your case, Taurus ascendants or Taurian sun moons, the benefic planets, Venus and Jupiter, sort of have the joys where the moon and these other planets in the stellium here of Pisces are placed. So these are offering some sort of good opportunities for you in these lovely houses of the benefics here. So let's see what's happening. So the new moon around the 15th of September last year may have been something that was happening in your life, or intentions that you had back then may be coming to this fruition point now at this full moon here on the 24th of February, 6 months later. Or maybe if you worked with shorter cycles of the moon, that was Friday, the 9th of February, when there was a new moon just a couple of weeks ago. So what else could we say? It's illuminating things in your fifth house. So the fifth house of Venus's joy is the house of pleasures, or it might be related to children. It's bringing things to a head here. It's bringing something of a sense of purpose. As I was saying, Virgo is very purposeful and needs to be useful and use that sense of purpose in being of service to others. So maybe there's something around children here that's important to you, that's coming to a head. Or maybe it's to do with romance and love and a creative project, perhaps. If you are creatively minded and entrepreneurial, this could be something coming to a head here that's being highlighted that you started last September. Just bear in mind as well, because we have the mercurial Pisces energy up here in this opposition. As I was saying, Mercury is in exile or detriment in Pisces because Mercury rules the opposite sign of Virgo. So there could be some, what's the word? The opposite to clarity, some sort of foggy, unclear communications going on that are really difficult to grasp, with the Mercury in Pisces here in opposition to the moon as well. And also I forgot to mention that Mercury is also under the beams of the sun. So when a planet is within 8 degrees of the position of the sun, when we think about the radiance of the sun and how bright it is, it really masks out the presence of any other planet that is within that 8-degree orb. So it's almost like Mercury communications, ideas, your hopes and wishes in this 11th house of Jupiter's joy. It's hard to really communicate exactly what you really wish for. And there could be some confusion about your career, because this is the second house derived from the 10th house of career. So this is about hopes and wishes and dreams related to how you're seen in the world, in the 10th house of public visibility. And it is about structuring something within these dreams, or it might be about having friends that are long-term supports for you, because Saturn is here in your 11th house. So your friendship groups that are your allies, your benefactors that are there. And you've got this sort of Neptune dreams and aspirations in Pisces here that are all opposite this moon in the 5th house here. So also, what have we got? We've got Jupiter, your ruler. Well, not your ruler. Jupiter rules the sun in Pisces, and Jupiter also rules Saggitarius, where we don't have any planets just now. I've got Antares up there because I was playing around with fixed stars. But Jupiter has been in your first house of Taurus for a while, since last May, excuse me, and Jupiter is only 10 degrees here. So Jupiter will be remaining in this first house of you, the helm of the ship, how you show up in the world, really encouraging you to expand and grow and seek and learn in a way of your personal growth, because Jupiter is in this first house, which is always related to you. It's the most prominent area of your life related to you. So there has been growth And there's continued growth here possible with opportunities, especially up until the 25th of May, when Jupiter then will be leaving at your first house and moving into the second house of Gemini. But remembering that, there are unexpected curved balls coming from Uranus, so there can be unpredictable things to have to grasp onto. And as a Taurian, you don't like change, or it takes you a while to accept change. So Jupiter is giving this wide trine to the moon in Virgo in your fifth house, giving you opportunities, growth, expansion, and maybe some gifts related to the fifth house of pleasures, children, love, romance, creativity. And also Jupiter is sextiling the sun up here in your hopes and wishes. So there are hopeful things here on the horizon for you, Taurus ascendant, sun or moon, and I hope that's helpful for you. So now I'll be moving on to the next sign of the zodiac, which is Gemini. Again, I welcome you to subscribe to my channel, press the like button, share, comment below if you're able to do that, if you enjoy my reading here. And thank you very much for doing that. So welcome, Gemini, ascendant, sun or moon, if you don't know your time of birth. Here we have this full moon in your fourth house, which is one of the angles of the chart, opposite the sun and the stellium of planets up there in Pisces in your 10th house. So these are very dynamic areas of your life, because the angles of the chart are very powerful for anybody. And they are the first house, seventh house, fourth house, and 10th house. They create these sort of pivot points, kentrons, strong areas of life, which are really, really powerful and meaningful for you. So this is going to bring up the topics of home and family, where we have the Virgo energies of the moon come into fruition here, around safety, where you rest, the land, maybe property, or your ancestry. And maybe something's coming to a head that began around the new moon on the 15th of September last year, when you may have planted some seeds of new ideas, of things that you could grow in the future. And now maybe you're reaping the rewards of that, and you can see what's coming up for you in this area of home and family. And obviously, as I've mentioned before, the opposition, where the sun is in opposition in the house of praxis, the 10th house, which is the highly visible house, that's related to your social status, your reputation, what you're seen to do in the world. So for those of you that aren't working, this could be vocational work, or this could be if you're a grandparent and you're always looking after your grandchildren, that's what you're seen to do in your world, because it's something that's really important to you, and that adds to your status and your reputation. So, it could be about that. It could be charitable work. It could be your career if you are working. So it's about this dynamism. How does the home life affect your outward life, what you're seen to do? If that's work, is there a tug of war thing going on about work and how that affects your home life, or does it deplete you in some way? What's needing to come into balance here? Because you've got your sun up there in Pisces, you've got Mercury, slightly confused, but maybe very creative and abstractly minded. You've got Saturn in Pisces here, which is probably indicating a sense of either restructuring something in your work life or your outward profession, or what you're seen to do in the public world, creating boundaries, or maybe cutting back or saying no, or creating something that's structured to work within. It might be recognizing your own mastery and being able to be an elder, depending on what age you are or how wise you are, if you're of younger years. For Geminis, to share your ideas, because this is very important to you, to be able to communicate with others and impart your knowledge. And you also have this Neptune energy up here in this 10th house. So it's a very dynamic area of life, oppositions between your outside world and your home life, and what needs to shift here, or what's come to fruition here. Maybe there's worrying things that are going on around the home, because Virgo moon can focus in on the minutiae, the details of things, and want it to be quite, the best it can be, and maybe things aren't quite as good as they could be, and that can be causing some anxiety there. Just a potential option. for an interpretation there. We have this Jupiter here, being here in your 12th house, which is the house of seclusion, retreat, privacy, offering a helpful sextile nature of Venus to this house. So reflecting behind the scenes, going inward, learning more about your own inner self, your landscape of privacy, maybe listening into your dreams or your intuition here. Jupiter's been here since last May. That's maybe offering you new ideas of what you can do up here in this public world. And at the same time, Jupiter is also offering a trine aspect, a wide trine to the moon in the home life here. So maybe it's about taking more time away from the public eye. That gives you that sense of opportunity to support your home life here. That might be more prevalent for you in the future here. So I wonder if any of that resonates with you, Geminis. So let me know in the comments box below. And thanks for listening. The next sign I'll go on to will be Cancerian ascendant. Hi there, Cancer ascendant, sun or moons, if you don't know your time of birth. This full moon is happening in your 3rd house of Virgo, down here at the bottom of the arrow that you can see next to the IC. Just ignore the IC at 5 degrees Virgo. And the sun and the stellium of opposition planets in Pisces are up here in your 9th house. So in ancient astrology, the 3rd house was known to be the house of the moon, sometimes the house of the goddess, and the 9th house was to do with the house of the sun, or the joy of the sun. That's right, the joy of the moon, the house of the goddess, and the 9th house was the joy of the sun and the house of God. So obviously we can recognize the opposition here in the masculine and feminine principles. The 3rd house is a very busy house. In modern astrology, it's seen to be the house of technology, communications. It can be to do with your web presence if you use websites or blogs or YouTube, things like this, technologies and things. But it's a busy area of life around your neighborhood. So this moon is full moon in Virgo on the 24th, is bringing to fruition, bringing up topics around how you serve and offer your skills within your local environment, perhaps being of service to others. It's to do with distant relatives, siblings, short journeys, busyness, short journeys in and around the home. Can be to do with selling as well. That's more Mercury actually up in Pisces in that house there, in the house of God. But yeah, it's about your environment. It's about your mind. It's about busyness. It's about things coming to head around your home. Sometimes it can be like too much going on, and there's a lot of toing and froing, and it's bringing topics to the surface that may have been planted in your mind around the 15th of September, around the new moon, coming to a fruition point, a culmination point, a completion point. And we've got this stellium of planets up here in the house of God, the joy of the sun, which is more the masculine principles. Sorry, I forgot to say that the joy of the moon, or the house of the goddess, is sometimes more related to friendships that are more feminine, because the house of the goddess, and in ancient times, the 3rd house was about friendships. So the house of the goddess may be that it's your social groups that are more involved with females. Not to start a debate about he, she, they, or anything like that, because I totally respect however anybody would like to be identified, but feminine friends, then, shall we say. And here we've got the stellium of planets, the sun in Pisces in the house of God. So it's more about solar figures. It's more about the higher mind. The 3rd house is about learning, everyday stuff. And the 9th house is about how you find understanding and widen your higher mind, as in your openness to find your place in the world, through spiritual or religious or pilgrimage or studying or enriching your knowledge. and having that imparted to you perhaps by others, or following a path in further education. So Cancerian ascendants, this opposition, there can be some confusion perhaps. Maybe something's happened that with Mercury in Pisces in detriment, far away from the home that he rules or she rules, because in a feminine sign, Mercury can be either or, can be very, very, what's the word? It's not dichotomy, but I've lost the word. But masculine, feminine, it can be a mix. It can be either or, depending on Mercury's nature and the sign that Mercury's in. So Mercury is quite feminine here. Mercury's in exile, away from Virgo, in opposition. Mercury's under the beams, and Mercury is also known to be in detriment. So there can be some confusion around ideas and clarity of communications, or your mind, your higher mind, your studies, what enriches your knowledge. There can be a slight bit of confusion, or there could also be very creative, abstract ideas coming in here. And there's a necessity to recognize limitations or more things that you need to learn, with Saturn up here in this 10th house, alongside Neptune, the modern day ruler of Pisces. Although in ancient times, for very many thousands of years, Jupiter is known to be the ruler of Pisces as well as Sagittarius. And talking about Jupiter, Jupiter is still blessing you in your house of groups and friendships, to do with your dreams, hopes, and wishes for the future of what you are seen to do in the public eye. So it could be opportunities in your vocations, or things you'd like to share and offer the world. Jupiter will continue to be in this house from last May until the 25th of May. And it may suggest that Jupiter and friendship groups are there to support you, because there is a wide sextile, which is helpful and flowing aspect from this house to this 9th house. So maybe this suggests that if you want to be a teacher, imparting your knowledge, sharing your wisdom, such as Saturn can represent the elder, there's flow there in this Venusian sextile, and also there's a wide trine aspect, 120 degrees from Jupiter to the moon in your busy everyday life, or in and around your neighborhood. So I hope that's helpful for you, Cancerian ascendants. If you feel like making a comment below, then I welcome you, and I wish you luck in the future. So thanks for listening, and I'll next be moving on to hi there, Leo ascendants, sun or moon, if you don't know your time of birth. This full moon in Virgo on the 24th of February will be happening in your 2nd house of Virgo, as you can see at the bottom of the arrow there. And it will be in opposition to the sun and the stellium of planets up here in the 8th house of Pisces. So what's this going to mean for you? Bearing in mind that these topics that may have been simmering in the background since 6 months ago, the 15th of September 2023, may be coming to a point here for you. Or if you work with using the shorter cycles of the moon, the new moon on Friday, the 9th of February, might be coming to fruition at this full moon. So the moon in Virgo in the 2nd house, this is affecting your sense of security, Virgos, because the 2nd house is about feeling safe. It's what you have. It's related to your own skills, about your own finances, and how you can use that to create security. And Virgo can be a bit of a warrior, going into the minutiae of a situation, looking at the finer details, wanting things to always be better, to always be improved. That's the hope for Virgo, discarding the chaff and just keeping the wheat, and knowing that, that's when things are going to function best. But sometimes this can lead to anxiety or a sense of unfulfillment if things are always never good enough, as it were. So let's look at this energy of the opposition of the planets up here in the 8th house. So the 8th house is about money that can come in from other sources. from others. The second house is about your own finances, your own money, and the eighth house, where the Sun, Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune are more about, it can be related, if you're in a partnership or a marriage, to your partner's money that comes in. It can also be money that comes in from unexpected sources that aren't related to career, things like inheritances, rebates, grants, support, financial support that comes in from others. And the eighth house is to do with the esteem of others. So there's a sense of this polarity with the opposition, your sense of security, and how that's affected by how others see you, and how their views of you may affect your sense of your own security and your own self-worth. Because we have the energy of Mercury in exile or detriment, because Mercury rules Virgo and is in the opposite sign. So Mercury doesn't function quite as well, or Mercury functions in a different way, shall we say, because all signs of the zodiac, dependent on their placements, even if it seemed to be a negative, there's always positives to be seen from that. So Mercury isn't as organized or practical in the opposite sign of Pisces, but Mercury can be very creative. Mercury can be very maybe trusting to allow things to unfold, and have faith in something resolving, rather than feeling like a need to be in control and practically grounded, as in Virgo's energy. So, there could be something there that you trust in the universe. You're trusting that something's going to resolve itself there, with that Mercury communication in opposition to this moon. You've got the Sun always going to be in Pisces at this time of year. And then you've got, ignore the midheaven there, that changes all the time, every couple of hours. You've got Saturn here talking about some sort of sense of, can be restriction and difficulty, or it can be about the long-term plans, because Saturn is about responsibility and concrete plans, something in this house of the esteem of others or money from others, something that you can use for the long term. And you've also got Neptune up here, the modern day ruler of Pisces, but in ancient times, we'll move on to Jupiter here. Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces for thousands of years. Jupiter is in a very dynamic house for you, and has been in this 10th house of praxis, your public visibility, your social reputation, since May 2023, and will be here until the 25th of May 25th May 2024. Yeah, so it spends 1 year in this sign of the zodiac. So there are opportunities with Jupiter, the largest expansive planet of the solar system, giving a wild sextile aspect to this house of other people's money, offering you opportunities, rewards, something beneficial, some gift is coming perhaps to support you, and maybe it will help your reputation. And Jupiter is also in a trine aspect, 120 degrees, a wide trine to the moon in the second house of Virgo. So this is offering you some support, some flow, some good, easy energy, which should allow you to have some sense of support in your area of life related to feeling safe, and using your skills and abilities, or getting the resources that you need if they're lacking. So I hope that's helpful for you, Leo ascendants. And next I'll be moving on to the Virgo ascendant. Hi there, Virgo ascendants, sun or moons, if you don't know your time of birth. Here we can see that the full moon in Virgo is happening in a very dynamic area of life, in opposition to the sun in the opposite area of life, first house to the seventh house. So as I was saying earlier, when we have planets in the first, seventh, fourth, or 10th house, they are very, very powerful Kentron points, pivot points, angles of the chart, and planets speak loudly. So this Virgo energy, the full moon happening in the house of you, it's bringing things up to the surface, to a sense of real visibility in relation to how you show up in the world, And these ideas of something that may have been started or planted either 2 weeks ago, around the 9th of February, if you work with the new moon shorter cycles, or going back to the 15th of September 2023, these ideas, these plans, these things that you've hoped to gestate, is that right? Grow basically, and culminate and nurture, to germinate. That's what I mean, germinate. Plans that you may had intended to germinate may now be fully showing up, affecting you, how you show up in the world, your mind, your vitality, and your body, as well as your behavior and your outlook. So Virgoan energies are, as I've mentioned before, very practical, very grounded, very purposeful, very productive, very busy, very much liking to be of service to others and have a sense of duty and, service and something really important to do in life. So how is this full moon affecting you? What's coming up for you now? Have you taken on too much? Because there is a real busyness and a sense of needing to be productive in Virgo. Have you set your bars too high? Are your standards too high for you? Are you reaping the rewards of regimes that you've put in place, perhaps, that are related to your physical health? Have you changed a diet that's now showing the fullness of purging out and stripping out and being more careful with your diet? Is this affecting your health in a positive way, or an exercise regime, or something that you've taken on over the last 6 months or even a couple of weeks? That's really coming up to a sense of, oh yeah, this is really benefiting me now, and it's really affecting you and how you're able to express yourself in life. And we've got these energies going on with a very dynamic opposition of the sun in Pisces. And this is the house of personal relationships. So this toing and pulling and opposition energy, 180 degrees, the nature of Saturn, then there's a sense of trying to weigh things up, because the sun is very powerful in Pisces at this time of year in the house of your personal relationships. And also you've got Mercury in exile in Pisces. Is there some confusion around communications or your ideas, if you're not in a relationship, what you're looking for to be in relationship with somebody on a close level? Or are there dreams that are really not very attainable, maybe? Or is there some confusion around your communications within relationships? Or it may be your public audience, if you have something that you offer the world, and this is your audience that you serve. It could be business relationships where your audience are there. And maybe this Saturn in Pisces is suggesting something about responsibility, planning, creating boundaries, and self-limiting, perhaps, what you offer others, or how you show up in the world in your sense of service to others. Still with this dreamy sort of imaginative energy from ethereal Neptune in this house of Pisces here. And remembering that in ancient times, Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces. So Jupiter is lending, let me get my arrow back. Jupiter, in the 9th house is lending a helpful sextile aspect to the sun, and more degree-based aspect to Saturn here in this 7th house from the 9th house. So the 9th house of God, the 9th house of your higher mind. There's opportunities since May last year to the 25th of May this year, when Jupiter will stay in this house of Taurus, giving you opportunities, chances, gifts that can enhance your relationships, your personal relationships. But expect the unexpected with the co-presence of Uranus. Sorry, I'm getting brain freeze here, and I think I might need to take a coffee break, decaf coffee at this time of the day. So Jupiter is offering some sense of flow from this house of God. So it might be things that you are learning, expanding your knowledge. If you are going to be the person that imparts the knowledge, the teacher house, the house of the higher mind, the leader, the solar figure, Or it could be that you're undertaking courses or traveling or doing something that can enhance your sense of relationships, personal relationships. And at the same time, Jupiter is in a wide trine aspect, 120 degrees, to the moon in your first house. So something about the house of God giving flow and ease and harmony to your personal relationships, and also how you can show up in the world, some gifts, some skills, some expansion there that can help you, Virgo ascendants, sun or moons. So I hope that's helpful for you. Trying to get rid of all of that. Again, if you like my garbled interpretations, press, I can't even say press anymore. Press the subscribe button, like or share, and I really give a lot of thanks for you if you're able to do that.